Good morning. This is Ryanico's World, another show of Ryanico's World. And what is that? Tuesday. I didn't go on camera yesterday because I was too tired. So bad mistake on my part, but want to get back and ready to go. So let's say a prayer. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. All right, so want to do the same thing today. We got some U.S. Catholic news. So the 27th of July, 2020, federal judge blocks Tennessee abortion ban during litigation. That's fun. But first, gotta drink coffee. Top of the morning to you. Alright. So again, this is by CNA. After issuing a temporary injunction against a Tennessee law that would ban abortion in most circumstances, U.S. District Judge William Campbell blocked on Friday the law from taking effect while it is being challenged in court. Campbell cited imprecision in the bill's language, as well as the likelihood that portions of it would be found unconstitutional in court as reasons for issuing the additional injunction against it while litigation is ongoing. The Tennessee Senate passed a bill banning abortions on June 19th by a 23-5 party line vote. So I didn't understand none of that except the last two lines. So, English, Doc, speak English. The Tennessee Senate passed a bill banning abortions. All right, cool. As you all know, I am against abortion. So banning abortion, it's another way of saying that we ban murders in the U.S. It's just, that's what it is. It's murder. So there shouldn't be no controversial aspect to it at all. But unfortunately, it is a big money maker in the U.S. and all over the world. I mean, this is billions of dollars. And on top of just, not just the procedure itself, but what they use for research. And I don't know about you, but no research is worth a baby's life. But a businessman would say otherwise, which I despise. And that's the world we live in today. So we have to look at our morals first. And let's go to the next one. Let me see if there's anything more. The legislation bans abortion after the point at which a fatal heartbeat can be detected, as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. 6 weeks. That's a month and a half. Typically, women find out by a month and a half that they're pregnant. Around a month and a half, they figure out. So we're talking about a heartbeat there. A heartbeat. That's not your body now. You don't have two hearts. A woman doesn't have two hearts. A woman doesn't have two legs. But even at that point, what they call a lump of cells, which I would say or respond to that, it's a lump of cells of what? Of a chimpanzee, of a orangutan, of a lion, of a cheetah? No. It's a lump of cells of a human. We all were a lump of cells of a human at once. And then God did the beautiful thing that no one can replicate, is to grow in the womb. So yeah, you're facilitating it, and it just gets me chuckles, if that's the word, but it just gets on my nerves that people would say, and men and women would say, not just women, they would say, no, that is her body, and she has a choice. Well, yeah, you have the choice of killing your baby, but I think society and the CNNs of the world, they would make those people believe that, hey, you you know that that's not a lump of cells, so don't worry about it. That will make you feel better on the decision you make. But in reality, it is a human life. So think about that. If you were to imagine and believe, which I believe wholeheartedly, but millions of people don't believe this, but let's just say those millions of people just imagine just for a second that it is a real human being inside. Then your mind will shift. Well, logically, I am taking away that person's life to live. What does that sound like? Oh yeah, murder. So if I murdered this person, I don't know about you, but something tells me deep down in my heart, for some reason I have this gut feeling that it's not the right thing to kill people. I may be wrong, but I might not be able to live with myself if I kill someone knowingly and intentionally. I don't know. So if you shift your mindset to that, is an easy answer. Don't have an abortion. It's just simple. But so many media outlets will tell you otherwise, and I personally believe that there is a monetary motive to this. So, and I learned this when I was selling memberships at my university as part of our sales program exam to other companies. So you would call the companies that had somewhat relationship with us, or they knew about the university, and we would literally sell our students for money. We would say, hey, we have the best talent. We prop up our university and our program and say, hey, you want in on this? You can get first line or front row seats to interviews. You can have specific interviews just for the top people. We know their GPA. We know what they've done. We can put you in front of those people, those students as your candidates, and you give us $10,000 or more a year. We have different packages, you name it, and it can go all the way up to $100,000. And whoever sold anything obviously was graded. We didn't get commissions, but I didn't sell anything either, but I did pitch a lot. So it was crazy how the universities turned into a business. And going back to abortion, same thing. From the universities to the corporations, Fortune 500 companies, same thing with the medical field. Medical field with all these different companies are making drugs, making research that costs millions, even billions of dollars. They are going to definitely use your baby's cells, this lump of cells that us, those millions of people, men and women, say that means nothing. In the medical world, it's a hush-hush, but they will tell you that this is worth millions. Stem cell research, they find all these different types of research, and I think I doubt that as well, but they use that reason because people have been researching for hundreds of years now, and they haven't found cancer yet, or they probably found it and they don't want to deal with it because we all know, trying to prevent or trying to handle the cancer rather than cure it is more profitable. So I believe that too. But it's crazy about abortion. It's very, very crazy. 100 years from now, we're going to look back and say, what the heck were we thinking? Same thing as slavery. We will look back like, what the heck were we thinking? Same thing with abortion. We're killing people. It's just simple. You just love people. Simple. So it's pretty crazy. So I'm happy for Tennessee that did that. Good for them. A Florida Catholic church rebuilding after arson attack. I think I talked about this before, and they're rebuilding now. That was a couple days ago. Crazy. And I'll read a little bit about this. So I'm skipping through the article. Evil. So in addition to the physical restoration, Father Patrick O'Doherty, the church pastor, said the community is keeping the faith. He said, evil never attacks evil. The church is something very good. I take the attack on the church as a sign that we're doing the right thing. That is so true. Why didn't it started ever since Trump? Again, I always say this. It was never again about Republicans versus Democrats. The underlining battle is a spiritual battle. Good versus evil. That's what's crazy about it. That's all it is. You'll be surprised, with the exception of immigration. You can clearly see the pure difference between the religion and not religion of the Democrat and Republican Party. It's no coincidence. So there are a couple of things. So, of course, pro-life. Most Christians are pro-life rather than not pro-life, or pro-choice, or even I call it pro-death. It's pro-abortion. You're either pro-abortion or pro-life. Simple as that. The Black Lives Matter use this a lot. If you're silent, that's just as bad. Same thing. Pro-choicers, you're just silent. You don't really care. And this is America. You don't have to care about anything. But with your not caring, you take the side of pro-abortion more rather than pro-life. Just FYI. So examine your conscience. Really, you have to, what my priest in Waco once said, he lives in Louisiana now. He's a patent priest there in Louisiana. But he used to say, cold or hot. You have to be one or the other. You have to believe in God or you don't. You can't be in the middle because it's just as bad as not believing. So great line to live by. And that's one, is abortion between Democrats and Republicans. Same-sex marriage, Democrats, Republicans, the difference, essentially, what they believe, the majority of people on each party. Again, it's religion, not religion. Transgenderism, same thing. Catholic Church does not believe in any of those, essentially mental illness. There's been study shows, and what a surprise, they try to change that, but we all know the science of it. You cannot take a woman and make it a man, and vice versa. You just can't. I personally believe they have something going on. They're very confused. There's nothing wrong with that. Any person can be confused at a young age or even at an older age. And it's crazy that there are some states that take away the, people call it, what's it called, gay camp or something, or gay cure, or gay prayer or something. It's the farthest from the truth. It is literally a conversation that a therapist or even a priest would have with you, and they would listen to you. They would understand why you feel this way. And a lot of times, transgender individuals, no one listens to them. No one cares about them. And it's very sad. The people who care about them, they care more about the movement and try to push it up. But individually speaking, they don't care. And it's very sad. You're really just hijacking this person to push your agenda. Catholics, we know that we're going to get crap for this. And we still say, let's talk. Let's understand why you feel this way. And because it's not normal. Unfortunately, it is not. There's something wrong where you feel that you're not happy in your body. That you feel that you're something else. Not just emotionally, but sexually. You're someone else. You gotta have a chat with that person. You gotta listen to them. And it's just very simple. If you, I read on I watched on Michael Knowles' show on Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro. He mentioned how, it's just when you're younger, like, okay, I'm Batman. He used a humorous example. And yeah, to an extent of seriousness, it makes sense. You're not Batman. Same thing. Hey, I'm a boy, but I want to be a girl. No, it just doesn't happen. But instead of being forceful like that, I believe, just chat. Let's talk about it. But some states legally are actually taking those type of programs away because they said it's harmful for the kid, which is the farthest from the truth. It's crazy how they do that. In fact, it would help them the most. But by helping them, it opens the door of them actually stopping their decision of becoming a transgender individual. And again, it's all about pushing agendas. And It's sad. It's very sad. They don't look at the individual. And then don't even get me started on the death rates after they have a sex change. But again, you can have a sex change physically, it looks like it, but a boy would never bear a child, and a woman will never produce sperm. It just doesn't. Why? I don't know. Ask God when we all pass away. That's my answer. And then let's go to the next one. Portland Archbishop decries violence, calls for peaceful efforts against racism. And they talk about the Catholic Church is bad. So you have to realize that as a Catholic Church, as a Catholic community, we don't see no color. It's just that. I actually spoke to a writer yesterday. I won't mention a name or anything, but he works at a restaurant, and he has a child that's 8 years old, and he's been married for 9 years? He said 9.5 years, and he's homeschooling their child, and we were just chatting about the chaos, and he's a black man, and he tells me that he's like, we just don't tell her about race because it's not important. A black man is saying this here in Texas. What? That doesn't fit the narrative. What are you talking about? In my head, I was shocked. I'm like, wait a minute, what? And he said, no, in God's eyes, everyone's a human being. Simple. And I was like, wouldn't you think she might be behind and not knowing the history? He was like, we make history. I'm like, dang. I'm like, what? He was like, we make our history. So we can continue on thinking that we're victims and always have us put down. Or I could just tell her everyone's the same and there are bad apples, but it has nothing to do with the race. There are bad apples in any race. And this is what he was saying. And he says, yeah, we'll tell her about, kidnappers, murderers. He was like, I'll tell her that. They're not nice people in the world. But he was like, I'm not going to say, it's because they're white or black. He was like, it's just bad people in the world. I'm like, wow. First off, I said thank you. And second off, I'm like, man, I say thank you because you really opened my eyes. But to be honest, he's one of many writers that I've spoken to about race that they just don't care. And that's the good part. Morgan Freeman said it best. The way to take away racism is stop talking about it. So, and if you want to look at all races, or all races, not racist, all the community of races, we all have bad times in our history. Some may have more had more struggles than before, than one or the other, but we all had trials and tribulations. That should not stop us. That should make us be better. Saying, okay, we are stacked against this because they're just bad people in the world, but that's not going to stop me from doing this. We do this in business. We do this in sports so much. All these struggles, all these barriers. And we say, F that. I'm going to go do it. Why can't we do it about racism? Just kick in his butt and say, yes, there are bad people. But it's not going to stop me from going get a degree. Last time I checked, the United States had no borders. As far as within the United States. Outside is different on the edges. But I'm talking about within the United States, from state to state. There are no borders. There are no separate cities from the U.S. I can go to Oklahoma. I can go to Nevada. I can go to California. And I don't get stopped. It's just common. Now, with the pandemic, with the different regulations, whole different story. I heard some of them. But on a day-to-day basis, it's normal. You can go anywhere. What's stopping you? Oh, well, the environment. So much people with Hispanics and blacks. I'm Mexican myself, and a lot of people say, I can't get out of the barrio. I can't get out of the ghetto because it's a part of me. You make that choice. Joe Rogan said, well, you don't know how hard it is. You just see all this violence and you just become this violent person. It's not hard. It's not easy to get out. And I have to say, he said that to Ben Shapiro, and I would respond to Joe Rogan by saying, it doesn't matter. You still have a choice. There are so many people that are being, so many young women are being raped. So many young boys are being raped. So many bad things are happening to good people all over the world. Not just California, not just LA, not just San Diego, not just New York. There's homeless people. There are so many bad things are happening to good people. And a gang member or a kid that just is brought up in violence is just another category. It just is. So you have to look at it and still say, forget that sport mentality or that business mentality. Same thing, apply it to your life, which is more important than sports or business. Say, okay, it may be harder because now I have all this information in my head about how it's okay at killing someone. It's okay to pick up a gun at 8 years old. It's okay. It's okay to see my mom or my dad hung up on drugs or alcohol. It's okay. No, you have to decide. And yes, then Joe Rogan said, well, they are lack information. Yeah, right. Again, last time I checked, you could get a phone anywhere in the U.S. Get Cricket, $30 a month. You tell me they don't have $30? They definitely, if they live at home, they definitely have at least some quantity of money to pay for that. Then you're talking about saving. But it's all about what you want. And the people who have gone out and left that and done successful things, not the ones that left and did still bad things. Because again, you can find bad people anywhere. You can go to Houston or Waco or any city in Texas. You think, oh, I'm bad in Waco, so let me go to Houston. Well, there's bad people in Houston as well. So, but for those individuals that left and actually did something with their lives, either went to school, either learn about a trade, or just, I don't like to say materialistic things because that's not the point of success, but just something that you have a purpose in life and you feel proud of, and you can help the society in any way, monetarily or voluntarily, in helping with your labor. Have those people come back and say, yes, it is possible. I went through the same thing. I know it's only 5 of us in the past 10 years, but it's possible. So, and again, it goes back to Joe Rogan. The more influential things that goes into your mind, you're going to be a part of it. So we have to change. We can't say we're victims all the time, because we'll always be a victim. And again, for every person that says they're a victim, there's always a person on the political side that's taking advantage of it, because they know your outcome. That's the worst thing in business. If you know the outcome, well, it's the best part. It's either winner or losers. For that person that knows the future of the outcome, is perfect for them. But for the person that doesn't know and could lose his business or sales, whatever it may be, that's hard. Just imagine if someone knew the pandemic was going to come. They were going to do everything to prepare for that, and someone that didn't. So it's knowing, the outcome of it. And if you know the outcome of it by putting yourself in that position, then do those steps. So it's very unfortunate. But again, we're in a society that for the smallest, most defenseless human being, which is a human being in a womb, even the lump of cells is still a human being formed. Society, half of the societies in the U.S. says we don't care about that. So just imagine everything else. Your homeless people. It makes sense that people don't care about people, and we have to change it. And the way you can change that is believing in God. Because when you believe in God, you put yourself second or third or fourth or fifth. It's a sacrifice. I'm telling you, you will receive a beautiful reward, whether it's during this lifetime or after this lifetime. But it ain't going to be easy. So I want to go to, Apple News. Let's keep it balanced. So Apple News, I just swipe to the left. All right. So, NPR says the pandemic is overwhelming in U.S. public health capacity in many states. What now? Bloomberg says McConnell takes divided GOP into high-stakes stimulus talks. CNN is under trending. It says opinion, how Tom Cotton accidentally told an appalling truth. Then People writes, parents of 3 in race against time after their 2 daughters are diagnosed with fatal brain disease. Wow, that's sad. And then let's go to the CNN, because we all know that it's fake news. So let's see how this works. Not all the time, but they show false information to fit their narrative. They omit information, so it's hard to believe them. I want to, because they control most of our minds, but I'm a free thinker. I think outside the box. So Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas probably thought he was being clever when he accidentally said the quiet part aloud to the Arkansas Democrat Gazette for an article that ran Sunday. He said that slavery was a necessary evil to ensure the creation of the United States of America. Here's what he told the paper. We have to study the history of slavery and its role and impact on the development of our country, because otherwise we can't understand our country. As the Founding Fathers said, it was the necessary evil upon which the Union was built. But the Union was built in a way, as Lincoln said, to put slavery on the course to its ultimate extinction. So who is the Unions? Democrats. So I know a lot of people try to debunk this, but it's so true. And you can't take away the truth, is that Democrats were for slavery. And look up Dinesh Sosa, and he'll tell you a little bit more. He can articulate it a lot better than me. Let me look at the time here. So you have to look at why slavery was created. I personally think that we could have lived without slavery. But it just makes perfect sense as a Catholic. There are evil people. Simple as that. If you want to look at it as the Crusades, I remember the Crusades. The Crusades were attacked first. The Muslims attacked us first. Look in the history. That shocked me too, because again, I was part of the CNNs of the world, of listening and watching them, and you just never learn about that. So look that up, about the purpose and the reason of the Crusades. Is like the Catholic Church has been doing for centuries now. We are defending our church. Simple as that. There's nothing. And then when we take over land, we are converting people. Again, if you have something good, if you have a pizza, let's keep it as simple as possible. If you have this best pizza that no one's ever tried, or tried it and never cared about it, but they never paid attention to it, or people that just don't know about this pizza, or people just hate that pizza because they like the other pizza place and they don't want to try that other pizza place because they might like it, so they just say no, and even they become hostile. But you have this pizza that is so good, it's piece of heaven. Are you gonna want to keep it to yourself? A selfish person would, but a caring person would say, here, Michael, here, Joe Doe, here, Jane Doe, here. You want to share that pizza. That's a very, very, very small example, but it goes into a big picture of why we want to convert people. And to be honest, we're not even pushing to convert. Baptists, Jehovah's Witness, they do a lot better job. Evangelicals, they do a lot better job on converting people. The Catholics, we've been lackadaisy. But the way to convert is through our example. That's why you don't see a lot of preachers going up to anything. We do more defending, like I said. So when we go and we defend our church and we tell people what we feel, and now we stand down. Now we take it. But there's a reason why we take it rather than fight even more, like the Crusades did. Again, there's just different people in the world. And now what I've noticed is it's almost we have to defend physically now, because there are people spitting at us. And I'm not talking about take up arms. I'm just talking about just pushing away because they're attacking us now. and it's very dangerous. The TFP, the Tradition, Family, and Property YouTube channel, look it up. It's a great Catholic order of young and older gentlemen, and their purpose of the Lady of Fatima, and they go out on different streets and just pray the rosary and just spread awareness. And people spit on them, people cuss at them, people push them, people take things from them, they break their instruments. It's a dangerous world, and pray for them, because you definitely do not see if you think there's a spiritual warfare not going on. It is going on. So take a look at those things, because us as Catholics, we have to fight for it. And I don't mean physically fight for it, but spiritually, and yeah, maybe, of course, emotionally, and maybe a little bit of physical, because we have to defend our church. And what I mean by physical is they hurt us. Again, my society mind might say, okay, I have to defend with violence, but what he said earlier, we had to fight evil with good. Just simple. So CNN tries to shake it or turn it around and just take half of his comments and say, oh, so you say slavery is a necessary evil. Boom. No, it's not. He mentioned because the Democratic Party, let's see exactly what he said. He said it was necessary evil upon which the Union was built. But the Union was built in a way, as Lincoln said, to put slavery on the course to its ultimate extinction. And it's a belief likely held by millions of white Americans and also by a number of white historians. It's just that Cotton said it more plainly and directly than most. It is that ability white Americans penchant for compartmentalizing and rationalizing when it comes to issues of race that has made it possible for a president as inept and racist as Donald Trump to... Oh, it always goes back to Donald Trump. Oh my God. The America's racist because Donald Trump is president. Oh my goodness. That's why you lost me. And a lot of viewers get lost too. Like, all right, when is enough is enough? There are bad people in the world, and a lot of it's not because of Donald Trump. You never said he was a racist before he became president. He was his best guy. So many people loved him. That's why he gave money on both sides, he said, during his campaign. Democrats and Republicans, they all loved him because he was another billionaire. So you got to be kidding me. So yeah, that's the crazy part. Same thing. Of course, NBC News says racism among white Christians is higher than among the non-religious. Oh my gosh. Wow, that is fake news. Wow. It just is sickening. It's sickening to hear this. That's no coincidence, they said. Over the last several weeks, the United States has engaged in long overdue reckoning with the racist symbols of the past, tearing down monuments to figures complicit in slavery and removing Confederate flags. But the little scrutiny is given to the culture institutions that legitimize a worldwide view beyond these symbols. White Christian churches. Wow. Again, they are attacking everything. Man, a close read of history reveals that we, white Christians, have not just been complacent or complicit, rather as the nation's dominant cultural power we have. So it sickens me to even read this. The legacy of this unholy union still lives in the DNA of white Christianity today, not just among white evangelical Protestants in the South, but also among white mainline Protestants in the Midwest and white Catholics in the Northeast. Wow. So more than 2 decades, I've studied the attitudes of religious... So that's where you're wrong. So more than 2 decades, I've studied the attitudes of religiously affiliated Americans across the country. And year over year, in question after question in public opinion polls, a clear pattern has emerged. White Christians are consistently more likely than whites who are religiously unaffiliated to deny the existence of structural racism. Oh, so you're mad at us because we believe that racism doesn't exist. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Because like I said before, we don't look at race as an issue. We look at bad people. So you are looking at it through a lens of racism. We don't. And again, there's so many structures within Christianity. Catholicism is the first Christian church. Then there's so many of them. You name it. And that is just unbelievable how people just twist that. And again, it doesn't matter if they say, oh, I believe in Jesus and I kill black people. No. That is a bad person that wants to kill black person and happens to be a Christian that says here. So all you non-religious people, do you think that just because we say Christians, that we're a Christian, that we practice Christianity? There's a difference between saying you're a Christian and practicing your faith. That's why I take it so seriously when our own individuals as Catholics in the Catholic community are taking these issues so lightly. Your abortion, your transgenderism, your homosexuality, all these things are against the church. But we as human beings, as a society, and says, you know what, I believe that. You make your own religion. Same concept. The same concept for racism. Oh, I'm a Christian, but I'm going to make my own view of racism because I just don't like Chuck, who happens to be a black man that's my neighbor, and I just hate him. That is so wrong. You're hijacking Christianity. Same thing with Islam. So many people get afraid of Islam because they're terrorists. Yes, there is a portion of that, and I'm sure there's a portion of Christianity, people who take up arms and become very violent. They are making their own view of Christianity. Please, for anyone who is journalizing or doing a journal or who is a journalist, who is a reporter, look up the catechism. Don't look what we do because we are flawed. We make our own religion within Catholicism. That's why I joke about it. I care more about I like more a atheist than a Catholic that's a wannabe Catholic that just says they're Catholic but they don't feel nothing because they haven't practiced their faith at all. Because at least an atheist says, okay, I know what I don't believe. A cradle Catholic, we call just someone that's been raised up Catholic but never really learned about it. They just went with the flow. That's what my parents said. That's what my parents told me. Oh, we were raised like that. And again, if you say that and you don't have a purpose, you don't look at the true meaning 2,000 years ago, the Catholic Church, how it was started, you're going to get lost in the weeds. And then you're going to end up following a couple generations of people saying, oh, that's what I was taught. That's what I was taught. Then you think it's a true. Oh, my dad was a racist, and he's a Christian. So that's how you come to these findings. Has nothing to do with the Catholic Church, has nothing to do with Christianity. And it just disgusts me how they put that together. So look up Christianity, look up Catholicism. It's far from believing that we are all racist. It's far from it. To the contrary. But again, it makes sense why people are fighting this. It's the religion versus the non-religion. Simple as that. So you have to open your eyes to those things where it is happening right now. But they're covering it up. They're wrapping it up into a race issue. But they're looking at it. We just don't like the Christianity religion. And then you got to ask yourself why. And I think I know why. With God, we have no control. That's what's crazy about it. We have our free will. He gives us control. But some things will happen in our lives that we just can't control. And we still have to love him because we know that he will give us freedom. He'll give us beauty and peace. Everlasting peace. And we just have to follow his rules. But the society today in 2020, wait a minute. We have to follow these rules, these so-called commandments. Kids can't even listen and pay attention to the rules of their own parents. Don't even get me started on that because people just leave their kids alone. They have no guidance. Times that by 20, 30 years or a generation or two, you get kids that just don't care about anything. So it makes sense that the most rising religion is no religion right now. It makes sense. It just shows that the world is getting rid of religion. That's why we have to defend. By just defending can be as simple as learning about the Catholic Church and just talking about it. Say, No, that makes no sense at all. Let me tell you why. Not to be mean, but let me just share this information for you. So that's how I fight, is literally by showing them, okay, that doesn't make sense. Let me show you. So that's the news. Let's see about stocks. So the Nasdaq's at 10,536. The New York Stock Exchange is 12,553. That's up by 1/4%. Dow Jones is up by almost 0.5% at 26,584. The business news: stock futures trade cautiously ahead of earnings. They have a Fed meeting. McConnell takes divide. Oh, Bloomberg. Again, I ran into that. So let's read it. The Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is taking the $1 trillion GOP virus relief package into negotiations with Democrats, weighted down by a divided party and friction with the House. I remember when Obama said in 2008, there's no left or right, it's only one. He was going to put the parties together. And it's nothing like that. So there's fresh urgency for Republicans to act months after McConnell pressed the pause button on new aid. I say that's good, because when you pause it, there are so many people that just want stuff. And I'm sorry, but America wasn't built on lazy people. It just isn't. You can call it lazy. Some people call it smart because we're just working the system. If the system's flawed, you tell it. So for those people that are working the system, you know what you are? In the Democrats' eyes, you're just as bad, you're just as racist as that white guy next to you, because you're just working the system. That's what racism was, or slavery was at the time. Oh, I'm not racist, but I follow slavery because I'm just working the system. So you're part of that problem. And if you, with that same mentality back in when slavery was legal, you would have been a slave owner. Just FYI, it's the same mentality. You can't get away from it. So you have to say it's wrong. Getting money and not doing nothing for it is just wrong. You have to work. It's just, and again, then you got to ask, well, why? It's very simple. So when Adam and Eve ate the apple, God says she has to bear the pain of having a child. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's the main thing, what he says. And he has to take up labor. He has to work for the rest of his life. So it makes sense. That's the beginning of the Bible. And that's the big important part of being a Catholic, is we have to work. There's always going to be sacrifice, always going to be struggle. But we have to believe in God. If you don't do anything, laziness is actually one of the corporal sins, if I remember correctly. I got to look that up. Don't hold me to it, but I know laziness is a bad sin. It's also a sin. So look at that, and gluttony too is one. But yeah, and that has to do with eating. But it's just not doing anything. It's just not good. And then for society, for America itself, you can't. So have to have this pause. And the other thing is, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. There's been always homeless during Obama years. There's always homelessness in Trump years. Democrat, Republican years. There's always. America doesn't care about that. They just don't. Look at Austin. Look at LA. They will say, oh, let it happen so we can be the good ones taking care of it, so we can make more money and make different committees, and we can have a purpose to make money from this. But they don't care. So please, when you are depending on the government, no. Depend on God, and it will motivate you to become a better person. And I'm telling you, you will make money from it. You may not make a lot of money, but you will always make money. A humble person will always find a way, because you have a purpose in life. For your father, for your husband, you will always find a job. As long as it's legal and ethical. Do whatever it takes. Again, you have that mindset. what sports people, what business people will do. In our faith, we do it. We don't care about any obstacles. We're going to do because we know God is always on our side. I found this book when I went to confession, and I want to read it because it's a quick read. It says 7 values to live by. I'm going to read the 7. I'm going to read 1 because each category is like a couple pages. So I'll read the 7. I'll read one by one each day. So number 1 is integrity. Number 2 is courage. Number 3 is enthusiasm. Number 4 is happiness. Number 5 is faith. Number 6 is hope. Number 7 is love. Number 1 is integrity. Look up integrity. If we were creating a job description of the character traits that you like in a business partner, integrity would surely be near the top of your list. Integrity is also a quality you look for in a friend or a spouse. It is one of the greatest values we can strive for in all aspects of life. Integrity, doing what's right. Many highly successful people seem to live by what might be called a code of super honesty. They are universally considered trustworthy. They're not satisfied with casual, everyday standards. They go to the extra mile. They make the better choice. One of the best ways to strengthen your standards of honesty is to speak out against dishonesty wherever you encounter it. Too often when we see a wrong, we are worried about being disliked or judged, aka transgenderism, aka homosexuality, aka same-sex marriage, aka abortion, aka racism. Say that is wrong. People fight about it, and they fight for, oh, well, we hate racism, but they don't say that part that they want to change it. They say people are wrong, or even worse, they say the system is wrong. No, it's just bad people. Simple as that. Bad people. And we have to tell them that they're wrong, not the system. You don't burn down places and hit others because the system's flawed. No, change it. You're doing exactly what the people are doing, but even worse because you're hurting them. and not just emotionally, but spiritually and physically. So integrity involves doing the right thing even when it's difficult, even when you think, or on the other hand, let me see here, I read too much. So we stay silent, it says, because we might be afraid of being disliked or judged. If you are easy on offenders, you may be also too easy on yourself. On the other hand, if you speak up for honesty, you make it difficult for yourself to be anything but honest. Man, that is great. Then the action steps. Man, I'll leave it at that because we're getting to the hour point here. So integrity involves, let me just read this last sentence, or last paragraph. Integrity involves doing the right thing, even when it's difficult, even when you think you can get away with it. Taking home the box of paper clips from the office, downloading music and movies from the internet without paying for them, slipping off for an innocent date with a married friend. We are often tempted to be honest or immoral. That's what it causes. Dishonesty and not being a person with integrity causes us to be sinful. I like the last example where as an innocent date with a married friend. Those little things that we think about, what is good, what is not. Oh, let's just push the button a little bit more. It's okay. No. I talk about that with dating, not even talking to people more than 10 seconds, more than you're respectful and give them time to say hi and bye. My grandpa always says, say hi and bye. And it is something that you have to do because if you cherish the person that you're with, and I'm talking about your marriage or if you're dating someone, you have this energy that it just comes off, but you have this limited energy. This limited, think of like a gas tank. Every time when you talk to someone, tell them your feelings, tell them how's your day, more than, oh, it was good, thank you very much. If you tell them more about your feelings and not to the person that you're dating and sharing your life with, that tank is going down. Then by the time you talk to your dating partner, you won't have the same excitement, that energy. It's just that science. It's just how we work as human beings. Say same thing 3 times for an hour. I'm telling you, by that next hour, you'll be tired of saying it. It's the same concept. So you turn into a sinful person if you just don't nip it in the butt from the beginning. Like, what do I want? It comes down to, what do I want? So look at that. Integrity is one of them. I'll continue reading that next time, but it's a good read. I'm going to continue reading it because all the other ones was great. The courage, enthusiasm, the love. There's other ones as well. So we'll talk about the integrity one. Continue off. I'll bookmark this page. But it's a small read. It's pretty neat. We're going to read it. And that's about it. So I hope you guys have a good morning, Tuesday morning. Up and at 'em. I'll drink another sip of coffee with you. And if you like this show, support it by just subscribing to it. This is helping me overall as a husband, as a father, to have another purpose in life. And it motivates me to be a good person. And it's hard. I hate waking up in the morning. It's so hard. It's very, very difficult, but I do it because I know I have a purpose. Even though I have like 1 or 2 subscribers right now, it's okay because I know that someone's going to hear me overall. And if they don't agree with me, that's perfectly fine. But if they agree with me, that's perfectly fine as well. So want to do this for a selfish reason because it motivates me to be a better person. And if I happen to help someone in another world or another country, around the world, or even here at home down the street from me that watches this, it's all the better. So again, hope everyone stays safe, and we'll talk again. And I'll learn more about video making. I just do it simple, the camera part and record. And I have a microphone. That's the only high-tech thing I have. So at least you guys can hear me a little better compared to my other videos. And my camera's a lot better. I use my phone. So I appreciate it. Like I said, it's helping all of my family, especially my immediate family, my wife and our 2 sons. And they might be waking up here in a little bit, and we'll start the day. So have a good day. Enjoy your week.